Where all my Billy Clan members at? Watching for the days of fashion, tuning in from day to day. Wondering what Billy doing next. Fashion, money, stacks and stacks. Go get y'all, go y'all back. It's a 13th day, the 13th day, the 13th day, the 13th day. If y'all are looking to get into upcycling, this video is sure to help you with that. Before we get started, make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. You did it? Thank you. Today, guys, I'm going to demonstrate how we dissect clothes when it comes to upcycling. So the first thing you do is make sure you come up with an idea. You do, like, okay, let me see what I'm going to do. Let me see what I'm going to come up with. Once you came up with your idea, you're going to write it down, make a note, whatever you have to do. After that, you're going to go to your clothes and you're going to see exactly what you want to use to make that vision come to life. For this video, we're going to pretend that I want to upcycle these pants and this shirt. I know we use this shirt for the pattern making, but we're going to use this as an example again. Okay. So, say for instance, I want to make these into a shirt or a windbreaker. The first thing I would do is take the inseam out. And that's another thing. You have to understand the way your garments are constructed. This pair of pants has an inseam. And then on the side of it is the side seams. And there's also other pieces like this little design, these two panels here on both sides. There's also the waistband. There's the waistband. And there's these drawstrings. Now, depending on the windbreaker I want to make, per se, just for instance, if I wanted to make a windbreaker, depending on the windbreaker I wanted to make, I may not want to use these drawstrings. They don't look that good of a quality, so I wouldn't use them. And you analyze your clothes really well to make sure that you're making a quality garment with them secondhand, and you're also trying to understand what pieces can be used, what pieces are usable. Sometimes you could have like a big old jacket or something, and you can know that this is something that you want to use, and you can use every part of it. You know, they have the lining, the outer shell, the buttons, the collar, you know, the pockets, the pocket flaps. You could do stuff with that. But for this, it's more simpler, less complex, and the only thing we just need to have are about 4 main pieces. And I say 4 main pieces because we're talking about the parts that make up the back and the 2 parts that make up the front. And there's like the hem, okay, that adds length to it. We can look at the inside of the fabric. Here's how it looks. And it's kind of textured, so this is very good for a windbreaker. Once I've decided what to do with what, I would go ahead and begin taking my seam ripper and just cutting it out. If you don't have a seam ripper and you have fabric shears or regular scissors, you can use that as well. So I will begin to do that and cut it out as flat as possible. And you're probably like, why you gotta do it flat? Why you gotta make it flat? Having it flat allows you to pretend that the whole remnants of the pants are a whole thing of fabric, like about a few yards of fabric in your mind. It will create that illusion. And then that's when you can start pinpointing where you're going to put your pattern pieces or where you're going to just start cutting. You're like, okay, I'm going to use this part for that, that part for this, so you can know exactly how many pattern pieces you need, exactly how to construct your new windbreaker, and what materials you're going to actually be using and discarding. Your goal when you want to upcycle is to use as much of what you're upcycling as possible. You're not going to use everything. Like I said, some parts of it are just not usable, and that's okay. But it's important for you to keep in mind that you need to make it into something with more benefit, which is the purpose of upcycling. You know, taking something that has low value and changing it to make it have high value. You don't want to make an alteration to the pants. Then you're not upcycling. You're just making an alteration. You want to make sure that you transform it into something more valuable, into something that you're going to use in your everyday wear. With the shirt, there's many things you can do with the shirt. You can make another shirt with it. You can make a skirt with it, some shorts, whatever. You can make it some gym shorts out of this, a 2-piece set, a crop top. Probably cut it in half, about like right here, like right under, a little bit under the armhole, and cut it and make it a skirt, some shorts, and a crop top. Have a 2-piece set. It all depends on what you want to use it for. And then you also need to play around with the feel of it. What are the characteristics? This is a stretchy fabric. This is a knit. This is really stretchy. So, but it seems like there's more stretch horizontally than it is vertically. So that's one thing you need to make a note in your head. Like, okay, how, depending on what I want to use this for, I need to see if it'll be able to stretch. And that also helps you when it comes to figuring out what you want to make in the end. Because if you want to make something that requires you to be able to slip it on and slip it off, and you barely have any of like the shirt and whatever, you want to make sure that you're able to just put an elastic in it for a waistband instead of making a whole waistband if you don't have that much fabric. This, depending on how long you want it and what you want to do with it, it may not be enough for you to make a waistband, an actual waistband. So you would have to make an elastic one. So for this, I will simply start off by taking my seam ripper or my scissors and cutting the arm sleeves off. Then I would cut the collar off. Depending, see what I want to use with that. If I want to make belt loops with them as a decorative element, I can do that. Also, look at the back. Okay, the back, it looks like a little bit like the front. This is an in the round fabric, so it's not like it was flat when it was made. It was more so a continued loop instead of like the flat fabric. So that's also something to consider. And for that reason, we don't need to worry about taking out side seams or center back seams, center front seams. There's not that many seams, just the collar and the sleeves. Of course, you don't need the tag unless you want to use it for something else, some type of project that's not even fashion related. Do with it what you will. Okay. Also back to the pants. So there's a lot to say. There's a lot that we can do with these pants. Okay. So I said that the drawstrings, not that favorable. I'll discard these. Okay. There's elastic in here. We'll see how good that elastic is. If the elastic is still in good condition, we can use that for something like a cuff. Make the cuffs elastic if you don't want them to be have that straight edge like the hem does. And then from here, if I were to upcycle these, and there's also pockets. This is extra fabric. Okay? This is extra fabric. I'm teaching y'all how to use every piece of fabric in some type of way. You can use this for a decorative element or to make a patch pocket. Also, after I've done determining what I wanted to use, I was going to cut off the waistband, separate that from the rest of the pants. I will cut the side seams, center back seam, and the end seam. Then lay them out, make some pattern pieces, lay them on top of the fabrics that I have, and begin to construct my garment. Those are the ways and few examples of ways I would upcycle and how to dissect your clothing and delegate a purpose for it in your new clothing. It's always important to make sure you use as much of the products as possible because there's just so much waste that already exists and we don't need to add more. So if you can upcycle your clothes, please do. If you don't want to, that's okay, but also try to get in the habit of trying to do something different with your clothes instead of just discarding them, donating them, and whatnot. Because even though you donate them, you think you're doing a good deed, which you are, but once you've done that and they actually get to the places, even though they will just sort through them, they will just sort through the clothes you donate and then discard the stuff that they don't want. So eventually, it's still going to end up going in the trash. So take what you have, learn to take what you have, and add more value to it. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right here. If y'all like this video, make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. And come back tomorrow for day 14.